welcome to the Saturday night stream of the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. Oh, I see, I got that crop needs to be adjusted a little bit. Yeah, that does it. Good. And let's see. Get started with a little bit of Geoguessr. Okay. Let's get that. So, first impressions. Definitely someplace warm. Fin. What is it? The same graffiti all the way along? Oh, hold on. Zena, Charlie. Something tells me this is probably a Spanish-speaking place from that spelling of Charlie. Although it is not a strong impression. Ah, we have a sign. We will know very soon. Plan de mas. Yeah. Okay. Travaux. Okay, French speaking, not Spanish. Okay. Doesn't seem like France somehow. It feels like someplace that France might have colonized at some point. Wait, was I just here? Maybe I was. Okay, we've got stairs to go up. Okay. Okay, I'm back where I started. And with only one additional piece of information that means anything to me. Nampnina. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna take a wild guess because I've got nothing here except that it's French speaking. I'm gonna say maybe Senegal. Okay, that is easily the worst score that I've had in like a month at Geoguessr. Fucking hell, 24 points. Madagascar. I got the continent right. I guess that counts for something. Well, it counts for exactly 24 points, apparently. Jeez, okay. Fuck that one up. Okay, let's redeem ourselves. Okay, nasi ayam, bihun soup, laksa, ais kacang. We are in some place that speaks either Indonesian or Malay. And I cannot tell the two languages apart because they are very closely related. But I can recognize, but I can get it down to one of two fairly quickly. Okay. At least this one isn't taking me around in circles, and I've narrowed it down to two countries. Of course, one of them is spread out vastly in the Indian Ocean. We got a flagpole. That could often help in these situations. Ber kelompok durian. Project Ber kelompok durian. Bertanan jarayan. Ayahanda. I'm not seeing any Chinese, which... Oh, hey, hold on. This might give me what I need. Okay. Teroy Bukit Alwar Bandar. Teroy Bukit. I have a Teach Yourself Indonesian book someplace. Started to learn it a long time ago and never got very far. Like far enough that I recognize it. Kebangsaan Melayu Bersatu. That is something to do with Malay. Okay, I'm thinking... This is making me think more Malaysia is Melayu and not Indonesia. Okay, so someplace in Malaysia. I guess I'll just go with that. And it doesn't look like Kuala Lumpur. Hey, JH, how are ya? 186 miles, that's a hell of a lot better than the first round. 4,091. Okay, I mean, the first round was 26 fucking points. Okay, and now we have... My immediate feeling is Japan. Yeah, I just had a catastrophically bad first round where it was some landmark that I didn't recognize, and all I had to go on was that it was that it was a French-speaking place, and definitely not in France. And so I figured, because I'd been to Senegal a few times on Geoguessr. Okay, yes, I think that is a triangular Japanese stop sign. I figured Senegal, maybe, and it turned out it was 4,000 miles away in Madagascar. Okay. Signs are set up for left hand. Oh, let me see, what is that? Okay, yes, we're in Japan. That is Japan Post. Yubin Kyoku, Nihon Yubin. Okay. And we're in some place reasonably urbanized, which actually doesn't narrow it down a whole lot in Japan. By the way, you hearing me okay? I don't need to adjust volume or anything. Okay. Ah, the fucking truck disappeared on me. Ja. これから Come on, give me something. There's gotta be a sign someplace. Oh, hold on. Sign. Here, what do we got? Hokkaido Juki Service. Okay, we are in Hokkaido. That at least we know which island we're on. So just get us that far. I mean, that would seem to suggest probably Sapporo. That is the only really major urban place, although... Stobu Bunkai Seibi. It's not. We haven't really seen anything that says it's definitely a major city, though. Just that it's kind of urban. Shinkoto ni 4ないし13. Okay, farm, how do you... Dentistry. Okay, the existence of dentistry does not actually bring me much further. Go service on deck. Okay. Sapporo 中央掃除車. We are in Sapporo. A source of very good beer, apart from everything else. Never actually seen Sapporo. Chuo Bunritai. Oh, hold on. Nishi no Sapporo Shindo Shinkawa Nishi. 第5号線 OK 新小野二条通り OK let's see 太平篠戸新篠津北広島OK 中央区札幌ことに there we go here we go ことに Okay gonna .5 miles. Okay, that's better. Okay, that's a US toll-free phone number. Well, or Canada. Junction 210, Tennessee Street, Alabama Street. Eureka Street and Orange Street. Hey, you recognize that root symbol there? Is that Florida by any chance? Oh, I've got a lot of practice finding random shit to look at. Exit 79. Right lane ends. Well, I guess all right lanes have to end eventually. University Street. Okay, give me a route number or something here. I mean, besides that one that's a state route that I haven't got a lot of use for, because I don't recognize it. Oh, hold on. That was what I wanted. Get back there. Beaumont and Indio. Okay, that tells me that there are Spanish language place names in wherever this is. And I'm not thinking California, so maybe Florida? Hmm. 55. Oh, hold on, maximum, not speed limit. No, this can't be Canada. Fucking palm trees. But Canadian speed limit signs do say maximum on them. University of Redlands. God, they're really doing a good job of not showing me anything that immediately narrows it down even to a state or province. Oh, come on. Give me something here. Redlands. Never heard of it. The University of Redlands. Let's see. Can we get a better... Redlands United School District. Okay, well, they're really going in on this Redlands theme. If only it didn't me any good. Exactly. That's what it's all about. University Street. Okay. God, it's like the kind of place names and you find in a movie, like a TV movie, where they don't really want to commit to a particular geographical location. So everything has names like University Street. Yes, Redlands United School District. I'm about to end up in a dead end here. Oh, we can find out which highway this is anyway. Yeah, and here's the University of Redlands. Wherever the hell the University of Redlands is. What we need is a sign that says what route I just went to. I just came from, rather. Home of the Terriers. Okay, yeah, there it says speed limit. Okay, I figured this wasn't Canada, but that maximum made me want to be absolutely certain. Okay. Okay, what's that sign say here? California. Okay, we're at the California 10. Okay. So, we're in Southern California. There's the 10. Where exactly does the 10 take me? Yeah, here we go. Thermal Palm Desert. Desert Center. Ehrenberg. And we end up in Arizona. Okay, but this is not Arizona. Rancho Cucamonga, Jurupa Valley. Alhambra, Monterey Park. Okay, looking for Redlands. Redlands, University of Redlands. Right next to Mentone, which is interesting because that is also the name of a town in Texas that is one of the top 10 least populous places in the U.S. It has like a population of, I think, 80 something. Okay, Rancho Cucamonga. Ready Alto. Here we go, Redlands. $1.4 miles. Okay, that's better. And we've got a low-res country scene. Well, maybe it'll end up being high-res by the end of it. We can't look at the other side of that stop sign. But let's see what... Okay, we're driving on the right side of the road wherever we are. That does not greatly narrow it down. Oh, thank you. Come on, give me something that doesn't look like it was shot through a cataract, would you? Oh, hold on, there was a sign. 40 miles per hour. I think that's MPH. It's so fucking blurry, it's hard to say. But I think it's MPH. If that's the case, we can say that this is a low-resolution area of the United States. It was probably shot on VHS. Okay. House. Okay. Hello, Mask of the Red Death. You missed the most ignominious Geoguessr result of my recent history. Let's see indeed. Yeah, I had some landmark. And I didn't recognize the landmark. All I recognized it was someplace where they spoke French that wasn't France. So I sort of wagered on it being, oh well, I'm going to be watching some kind of cringe podcast. Haven't really decided which yet. There are a number of cringy options. But speaking of cringe, so I just decided to probably Senegal because I've been taken to Dakar a couple of times by Geoguessr, and it turned out it was Madagascar. 4,000 miles away, I got 26 points. Like, just a sort of consolation prize for at least getting the right continent. Yeah. But I've been improving since then. Oh, come on, give me some actual... This looks like the... I didn't recognize it. It was some sort of, like, I would say probably 19th century church-like building. I mean, there weren't any signs indicating exactly what it was, or if they were, there weren't any place where I could actually see them. Yeah, someplace in the low resolution section of North America. I mean, it's like that whole bit of Nebraska that was shot on VHS, and when you get there, you have to keep on hitting the fucking tracking button. No, actually, because this is so blurry that there was a speed limit sign, and I couldn't make out whether it was KPH or MPH. Oh, well, possibly. I have a few others that I'm considering. Oh, wait a second. This looks like it might actually be a little bit more CKK. Kentucky has motorways with names like that. There's like a double A highway and a bunch of others like that. Yeah, I'm thinking possibly even Kentucky. Just because it's the one place I know of that has state highways that are letters. Like, up not far from where I am, there's a double A highway. Yes. Muses Mills. See, there's capitalism for you. You have muses and you make them work at fucking mills. Okay. Middle of fucking nowhere, wherever it is. Oh, hold on. We've got speed. Okay, that's speed limit. That's definitely speed limit 55. We are in the US. Even if we are looking at the US through a fucking cataract. Dropped out? What do you mean dropped out? Okay, tell me when. Oh, that's not good. Oh, all the way back to the intersection with the highway sign? Oh, hey, what have we got here? fuck's sake. Yeah, everything is just blurry as shit here. Okay, we're going back. In fact, this is giving me a bit of a headache, so I'm just gonna say... Nah, that's not Twitch. It is just that blurry. I can't make anything out of it, so I'm gonna say Kentucky. Missouri. Okay, gonna have another... I'm gonna do one more. Hello, Andromeda. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, it could be Twitch. Twitch does these things. Okay, we are on some kind of motorway. Kanoko. Dairy Queen. Okay, thinking North America here, certainly. Kanoko's a name I haven't seen in a very long time. Exit 77. Lamar and Minden Mines. Yeah, I'm thinking US too. Although this isn't such distinctive crappiness. Wait, that said Carthage, Missouri. Although that could be... That doesn't mean anything. That's a long haul. That's a semi. So, I mean, that could just be from Carthage, Missouri. Oh, well, that does settle it. Walmart. Okay, I've never heard of Lamar or Minden Mines. No idea where that is. Hospital, next right. Murphy, USA. What, US 160? Oh, that certainly would narrow it down. Oh, it's, okay, 70 mile an hour. You don't see those very much. It's been ages since I've seen a 70 mile an hour zone on a US highway. Oh, well. That doesn't narrow it down terribly. Although, actually, let me see. $169.36. Ooh. Oh, Carthage. Okay, I'm just gonna just stick a pin in that and see, because that's where that truck was dispatched from. 417 area code. Southwestern Missouri, including Branson, Carl Junction, Carthage, Joplin, Lebanon. Okay. $160. Yes, it's definitely, apparently near 160 though. What's this called? Seed and Farm Supply Incorporated. Sirloin Stockade. Okay, let's see where the... What's that other place? Minden Mines. Okay. On the same latitude as Springfield. Forwards. Hold on, let me see. North. And 14 miles. Yes. Okay. We're definitely someplace prettier. Saw a meme recently about how the only two major cities Missouri has are clearly trying to get the hell out of the state. And it's so true. Okay, can we get a better... Can't make that out. Not near enough. Yeah, Southeast Asia is definitely a possibility. Linamart. Milo. Folgers, Smuckers. This could be Australia, actually. Milo is like Australia's Ovaltine. Wash and dry. On the other hand, it looks like it's right-hand traffic. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. The signs are all set up to be driving on the right. Oh, yeah. Peteli. Oh, hold on. No fuaga e uno a afia. Galu lolo a fa'alagona semafui e. I'm thinking this could be Hawaii, actually. I don't think that's Maori, and that would be left-hand traffic. Yeah, I mean, those Austronesian languages are extremely similar, but one thing that distinguishes Maori is that it has WH in it, and that WH is actually like an F kind of sound, except a very breathy F that comes from the back of your throat. But yeah. Tsunami hazard zone. Very pretty tsunami hazard zone. Okay. Only 2,549 miles. Where was it? Samoa. Fuck, yeah, that's another one of those Polynesian languages that... Okay, we are in Vienna. Yeah, I mean, there are just close languages closely related to Maori and Hawaiian, like strewn all over the South Pacific. I mean, it's amazing how much how much of a range there is. Okay, Kupelwieser Gasse, 13. Bezirk. We are in Vienna. Ausgenommen. 10. Bezirk. Okay, let's see. Vienna, 13. Bezirk. Zwischen Brücken, Donau City. Ja. 10:40. Yes. Explains the right-hand transit. Speaking of... yes, I saw that. Absolute pricks. I mean, you can give them consistency because, I mean, the whole reason the U.S. took over Puerto Rico was so that they could just sort of sponge it dry. But, Jesus, I mean, the sooner we just get over this idea that there's anything positive about having this Supreme Court, with the 9 people who you can't fire who have completely unreviewable power over our lives. I mean, I think the sooner we get over the idea that there's anything remotely legitimate or even just minimally acceptable, Ventsgasse. We are in the 13th district, which tells me fuck all. The better, I think. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, just it. Neue Weltgasse. Margareten, Schönbrunner Straße. Neue Stiftgasse. Okay. True enough. Westbahnhof. Okay, and that's 60er Straßenbahn. Okay, so... And it's headed in this direction. The Westbahnhof is this way. So that's giving us a bit of an indicator. Schwedenplatz, Terborstraße. Yeah, that is true, although really when you get down to it, it's sort of all of their fault. Hauptbahnhof. Madling. Karl-Marx-Hof. Wien-Heiligenstadt. Schnitzel Center. Sounds good. Oh, I love Vienna. But these numbered districts, I have difficulty with. .4 miles, not bad. Where are we now? 4 out of 5. Huis in Bos. That can be Dutch or it can be Afrikaans. Hello, anarchist cat food. I don't think I've seen you here before. Oh, come on. Don't be fig-leafing the street signs on me here. The streets aren't worried about their privacy. They're right out there in the open. 60, okay. No, definitely, that was Dutch that we saw. Well, it can be Dutch or Afrikaans both. There is a lot of overlap between those two. Okay, well, good seeing you again, JH. Oh, and thank you. Yes, this is a favorite dress of mine. Hope to see you around next week. Ah. Where did we talk about this? About the song? Four Seasons. Okay, so we have Dutch or Afrikaans and English. This is beginning to feel like we might be in South Africa, though it's hard to say. Mount Prospect Drive. English language street name, certainly. Oh, hold on, let me see. Oh, yeah. I vaguely recall this. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm thinking more and more that this is South Africa. That is an electrified house fence. And rich people in South Africa are particularly paranoid. Buitenverwachting, Klein Constantia. Okay, where was the stop sign? No doubt. Okay, well, we're in someplace. Yes, that. Okay, note, Uitgang, Lebazi, Poplar Avenue, Westlake. Yes. Yeah, we're in South Africa. That doesn't narrow it down much. South Africa's actually huge when you're not looking. I mean, we're talking about someplace in South Africa where a lot of fucking rich people live. Which, I mean, that could be Stellenbosch, but it doesn't really feel like wine country. That could be Joburg. They have plenty of rich fuckers there. But I'm gonna keep going, see if we find anything more, because Lebazi, I mean, that's a place name, I'm sure, that does not actually tell me much. I mean, this could be Joburg. If it is, it's a bit of Joburg that I've never seen, because the only Joburg I've seen is in movies, and that's always the city center. Okay. Weinberg, Bergvliet, Hout Bay, and we got the M3. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely... Okay, it is definitely South Africa. You can tell one of the major distinguishers between Afrikaans and Dutch is that in Dutch you use an IJ to write the I sort of sound, and in Afrikaans they just use a Y. Okay, Weinberg. That sounds like we're actually in kind of wine country. But what was it? Hout Bay, Wood Bay, Oude Bosch, Grabo, Gajalich, Mitchell's Plain. My understanding is Mitchell's Plain is not. Yeah. Well, it's also that, I mean, when you write IJ in cursive, it comes out as, it looks like a Y. And so it's just simpler that way. Afrikaans is an interesting language. Die Dam. So this one's Strauss Bay. We're looking for Hout Bay. Infanta. Groot Jongersfontein, Still Bay. Gouritz. Vleesbaai, Mossel Bay. Harold, Victoria. Pezula. Plettenberg Bay. Nature's Valley. That sounds like a place where they make fucking ranch dressing. Oyster Bay. St. Francis Bay. Jeffreys Bay. Gamto's Mouth. Lovemore Park. Eberga. Großfontein. Coffee Bay, Situlele, Olobeni, Port Shepstone, Tualume, Guadugusa, and we're already to the border with Mozambique, so I'm just gonna say someplace coastal, probably around here. And shit, it was right by Cape Town. Hout Bay, it's right on the nose end of Cape Town. Ah, I was so close. Construir tu propia casa. This, okay, we are in a Spanish-speaking place, and they use vos. So there's a good chance we are in Argentina, but it could also be Paraguay, Uruguay, and various Central American countries. Camino de la Sierra, Yoxina, Malagueño, Salida. Okay, that disponible. Yeah, I mean, let's just keep going and see what else we can see, shall we? Tercer carril por sentido. Autopista Córdoba, provincia de Córdoba. We are in Argentina. Autopista Córdoba, Carlos Paz. Okay. That's ridiculous. I mean, it is something it is extremely widely used, even though, like, Spanish language classes in the U.S. barely acknowledge it. Okay, I'm gonna use my larger map to narrow down on this. Rosario, Córdoba. Córdoba, Rosario. And actually, there are kind of two. Autopista Córdoba, Carlos Paz. Okay, we got it. Yoxina, Malagueño. La encontramos, weón. Facilito. 1.7 miles. And what was his rationale for not teaching voceo? Okay. And now we move on to the other part of the evening. We could continue with the doxing of libs of TikTok, but then there's also PragerU on how to think objectively. I'm very curious about that. Oh, and we've got Oil Billionaire's view on why gas prices are so high. Out of date, it hasn't stopped being used. This I'm actually kind of curious about. We probably won't be able to finish it tonight. That is the most bizarre thing, because if anything, there's more voceo now. Okay. I'm rather curious about Amala's origin story, because it's always been very difficult to figure out what the fuck. She supposedly was in some leftist organization that shall remain nameless for some reason before becoming a talking head for oil money. So that's one. Okay. Or we could look at how to think objectively, which I'm sure will be fascinating. Or we could see, why are gas prices so high? Or there's also Guess or Mess, Margaret Thatcher. Okay, I don't even know what the hell that actually is supposed to mean. But they all look kind of tempting to me. Does anyone have... Okay, let's finish the doxing of libs of TikTok then. It's cable reimagined. Dismiss. I mean, it's cable, but it sucks more than cable because now you have to pay for each channel's fucking services separately. It's cable, but worse. Okay, so where last we left off, Amala was laughing at the fact that, doing a very bad job of pretending to be outraged over any of this, I should note. Very bad job at that. And was making fun of somebody for wearing a mask during a pandemic. Because they really have decided to stay on the worst possible side of history on that one.
Is beyond me when you which it's a job that requires, or should require, let's say, it requires a distinct amount of objectivity, honesty, and integrity, and is just completely and utterly lacking in this country right now. But what...
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting thing to point out. Why do you think that is, Amala? I think that a big part of that, you see, is that you've got these fucking billionaires, and they buy out media outlets, and because we live in a capitalist system, those media outlets end up representing their fucking interests. Sort of like you're doing right now. Yeah, I know. I mean, she can't even... This is the best she's done at pretending to be outraged over this the entire time, I should note. She getting that fucking stern warning.
What does the Washington Post have to say about this? Because... they're the publication that put it out. They're the ones...
And somebody pointed out today, I was looking at this on Twitter, somebody was preserving one of the tweets that libs of TikTok had decided it was probably a better idea to delete now that they were getting this attention, where she completely doxed somebody, gave their address, phone number, every single bit of contact information they had. So, yeah, that's who they've decided to defend today.
Ones who allowed her to dox this woman who's just simply running a Twitter account.
Yes, I mean, she's just doxing people in a Twitter account. I mean, why should somebody who doxes people on Twitter get doxed? I mean, well, not doxed, but have her name mentioned. Chaya Raichik. We're going to keep on mentioning that name here because she deserves to have it weighed.
And they're the ones who should be held accountable in some way, shape, or form because they represent the upper structure of this hierarchy that allowed this to happen. This, I will pull up on Twitter, is what the Washington Post had to say about Taylor Lorenz and what she has done here with this article. The Washington Post writes,
Taylor Lorenz is an accomplished and diligent journalist, okay, in her management has had significant impact on public discourse, and her identity is... Yeah, I mean... Yeah, this is... Every single bit of what they said is true, and that is actually a rarity in the Washington Post, the official newspaper of Jeff Bezos.
Taylor Lorenz is an accomplished and diligent journalist whose reporting methods comport entirely with the Washington Post's professional standards.
See, I know what Amala's about to do here. Because what she's going to do is she's going to totally debunk this bit about publishing or not publishing or linking to any details about her personal life. Because she's got to. Because she's invested so heavily. We're 15 minutes in. And she's been talking about the doxing of libs of TikTok and all this shit. So obviously, she wouldn't leave us hanging. She has all that integrity. She's been telling us all about it. So she's going to show an example of... actual doxing in this video about doxing.
And it says the name, I'm not going to read it, in her management of the Libs of TikTok Twitter account. And
she's not going to read it, but it's right on the fucking screen.
in media interviews has had a significant impact on public discourse, and her identity has become public knowledge on social media.
Yes, it has become public knowledge. You see, they're nice enough not to point out that that's thanks to Glenn Greenwald.
We did not publish or link to any details about her personal life.
Okay, go get them. You got examples of them doing that, right? I mean, since we're talking about doxing for all 15 minutes and 37 seconds so far, you got examples, right?
And this is Cameron Barr, the senior managing editor for The Washington Post. Now, there's a few things that we should talk about in this statement. Entirely with professional standards? Questionable, because professionally you shouldn't contradict yourself in an interview that you do 2 weeks prior to doxing.
Which would be such a fucking own right there. That would be such a fucking own if she had actually done that. I mean, she literally, the contradiction for anyone who missed yesterday, the contradiction she's talking about is, you see, Taylor Lorenz had given some interviews where she talked about the horrible impact that online harassment can have on people. And, the experience, what it's like to get doxxed. I'm just gonna purge the latency of Restream just in case. And then she goes on to identify an extremely prominent online harasser who harasses the sort of people that PragerU likes people to harass. So, and that's the contradiction. She's against online harassment, and she outed an online harasser who was hiding behind anonymity while ruining people's lives.
Somebody in an article. So, are we really upholding professional standards? Well, they do say the professional...
Who's the we? I mean, you're not. I mean, I think that's kind of a given that you're not. But I don't see you as a we in anything involving the Washington Post. It's not
standards of the Washington Post. Which, looking at the Washington Post and some of the articles that they put out, yeah, maybe that is consistent with their professional standards. They
example.
Get an F in professional standards, but so long as you're consistent in utterly failing to put out actual news and actual media, I guess I'll clap for you on your consistency.
That is a sampler that she's got on the wall in her dressing room every time she begins to doubt the decision to spend her early 20s just flogging this absolute low-quality bullshit to rubes. She looks at it and says, I guess if your standards are that low, at least if you're consistent, I can clap for you, and it helps her get through the day.
And at the end of this, they said, we did not publish or link to any details about her personal life.
Okay, so you're going to come up with an example of that happening, right?
Lie, 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 lie.
Go get 'em. Come on, some examples. You got 'em, right?
Tomato, 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 boo. They did. So here's an actual screenshot of the Washington Post and what they put about the woman who runs Libs of TikTok. An account in search of a voice and a big break from Joe Rogan. Her name has been working as a real estate salesperson in Brooklyn.
See, here's the thing about Brooklyn. There are kind of a lot of people there. Saying that somebody is an estate agent in Brooklyn does not actually... That doesn't count as details from somebody's personal life. If you say that somebody lives in a particular major city of millions of people, that's not doxing. Especially if they're actually a prominent public figure, which she was actually deliberately making herself. That's not doxing. That's just pointing out where somebody lives. She lives in Brooklyn. Lots of fucking people live in Brooklyn.
When, in early November 2020, she created the account that would eventually become Libs of TikTok. So not only did they write...
Oh, so she kept changing the name of the fucking account, is what I get from that. Which is really sloppy if you're trying to protect your identity. Because that will actually... If you search for the old names, former names of former Twitter usernames on Twitter... It will bring up the current username of an account. It's all linked. So, she didn't even make it terribly hard to figure out who she was, is what I'm getting from that.
that she's working as a real estate person in Brooklyn. They actually linked to her private work details and address. And this was...
Which, she's an estate agent. That information is public. You could Google... If you Google her name, you will get that information, because estate agents want to be known. They want people to be able to find them. They specifically... Because they want the fucking commissions. That's not... That isn't information she was keeping secret. That is information she made very public, because that's the business she's in. She just doesn't like the fact that now people who were looking to profit off of housing inflation with her are also going to know that she tries to ruin the lives of LGBT people. She thinks it's bad for her brand in Brooklyn, and that's probably true. And that's her own fucking fault. She shouldn't have done that. I seem to remember PragerU being very big on personal responsibility once upon a time. Well, when you choose to ruin people's lives and you fucking get caught, you don't get to complain when people then decide that they want to go to another estate agent.
Luckily, screenshotted and posted by Tim Pool, who got the evidence of this happening. And now Washington Post is saying, well, we didn't post any personal information whatsoever. Imagine that. Imagine being somebody who is on Twitter and an account that's particularly polarizing, not because you're doing anything wrong, but just...
Oh, well, because we've established that if you try to get people fired for being LGBT, or if you actually dox them, that's nothing, that's, that's nothing wrong. But if you reveal the identity of an asshole who is running an account ruining people's lives through behind a curtain of anonymity, that's beyond the pale.
Just because the climate of today's day and age, and you make an active effort to remain anonymous. You do so on your Twitter, you do so on your other social media platforms, you do so in all of your interviews, and somebody decides to expose you. What other intent could they have other than inciting violence against you, getting people to send death threats to you, and getting people to know where you are so that they can attack you in some way, shape, or form?
Wow, see, that's very interesting, because if that's the only intent you could possibly have in that situation, what does that say about libs of TikTok? Hiya, right chick. I will say her name. I think the reason that they won't say her name on PragerU is that nobody knows how to pronounce it.
What other goal
except
is
maybe Dennis Prager, except
there to doxing? Because if somebody can point out some sort of positive methodology behind why you would put somebody's address, full name, where they work, and all of those details in an article for all of the world to see,
Well, yes, it is that somebody is ruining people's lives and hiding behind anonymity, and this way people get to know who's behind that, who's actually ruining people's lives.
Listening with open ears. Because I can't think of another reason why somebody would do that. And neither can Taylor Lorenz, apparently. Judged on her prior interviews and the prior things that she's written, she can't find a positive reason for doxing somebody. Can you, Taylor?
Well, apparently you two can find something positive about doxing people because you're defending somebody who does that.
Positive reason for doxing someone?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Let's you're only Batman's enemies want to take off his mask, you know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is that only an enemy of an anti-LGBT far-right harassing troll who likes to dox people and get them fired from their jobs and fuck up their lives, only an enemy of people who do that would want to expose their identity. So obviously they're saying it's a bad thing to be an enemy of somebody, of a toxic piece of shit like that. Which... Well, I mean, guess that's just, they can do them. I mean, what gets me is, she's in her early 20s. This is the grift that she's starting out her professional life with. I'm very curious what Act 2 is going to be. Is she going to continue on this grift, or is it eventually going to turn out? Is she going to, 5 or 6 years from now, there'll be a book out about just what a horrible place to work PragerU is. I mean, there's so many ways you can take this grift from here, and she's gotten a really early start on it.
I love the Batman reference because I just watched The Dark Knight and I did not like it at all. Which is a side note. Maybe I'll make a video about that. I liked the Joker. He was great, and I liked Harvey Dent, but...
You're going to watch the new one tonight, though, and then we're
am.
going to debate which one was better.
Yes, and we will talk about it. And if I see anything woke in it, I will tell you guys. I will tell you. Now, let's go and take a look at the Twitter account of Taylor Lorenz, because as you can imagine, she's getting a lot of heat today, and you could also imagine that she might respond to some of that heat. So here's what she put out. @Libs of TikTok has become a powerful cross-platform social media influencer spreading anti-LGBTQ sentiments and fueling the right-wing media's outrage machine.
Yes. In other words, you.
She wrote about it in this account, and, you know, here's her linking to that specific article. She goes on to defend exactly what she's done, saying that...
Because what she's done is actually a good thing.
Libs of TikTok is anti-gay, that, and essentially, I guess that just...
Well, so you're gonna refute that, right? You've got proof that they're totally pro-gay, right?
just makes it okay for people to attack you and to put out your information. Apparently that...
Well, yes, when you're attacking people... And she did put out her information, put out her fucking name. The rest of the information was already public because she has a public-facing job.
That's the logic there. Now, she's retweeted some other people who have jumped in this conversation. One saying, Libs of TikTok creates targets in a violent culture war against LGBTQ people.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what she does. That's what you're defending here, Amala.
Some of whom have already have been harassed out of their jobs. When Taylor Lorenz critics make this conversation about doxing, they're failing to apply the same standard to the woman who runs Libs of TikTok.
Yes, exactly. This is my point. Now, okay, you didn't start this stream without having a good response to that, right? So we're gonna hear the definitive refutation of that. I think more or less irrefutable fucking argument.
Okay, let's compare these two things. A person who is actively trying to remain anonymous on their Twitter account, like the woman who runs Libs of TikTok, to teachers who are actively taking videos of themselves saying, look, I'm indoctrinating children and here's how I do it, and here's my classroom, also here's my name, also here's the
Oh, so you've got examples of that, have you?
School that I work at, and I love shouting this leftist stuff, and if they fire me, I'll just go and do it at another school. That's what's in the content of these videos. So all that woman does...
So you've got like an example of one of these fucking videos, right?
...is finds those videos on TikToks of these teachers and leftists exposing themselves and goes download, tweet. That's it. So to sort of conflate that with exposing people and doing her own form of doxing...
except that she literally doxes people.
...is a completely illegitimate argument because they are exposing themselves, putting out their own personal information and...
You mean sort of like an estate agent who decides to moonlight as a far-right Twitter troll who's put out her professional contact information online so that people can contact her professionally. Sort of like that.
Making those videos publicly. If anything, Libs of TikTok is helping to get the message of leftism and progressivism out to people. Because Libs of TikTok will...
Oh yeah, shut the fuck up.
...take a TikTok that has virtually no views and suddenly people are seeing it. And isn't that what the progressives want?
Suddenly the worst people on the planet are seeing it and are sending them death threats and all sorts of other wonderful things.
Don't they want their ideology to be seen and heard by everyone and even conformed to by everyone? So I'm failing to see the wrongdoing on the part of this Twitter account and why somebody like Taylor Lorenz would want to dox them. And there's no...
Well, at least she hasn't doxed them, though, is the problem.
No logic there. There's no defense there. And they're, of course, having lots and lots of trouble being able to defend this. And liberals and conservatives alike.
It didn't sound like they were having much trouble to me. I mean, you read out a pretty comprehensive defense. I mean, what's really hard is to be against doxing. To posture against doxing and then at the same time defend Chaya Raichik, aka Libs of TikTok, who likes to dox people and ruin their lives. I mean, that's difficult, and I have to say, despite how difficult that is, Amelie, you have done a remarkably bad job of actually coming up with even the bad faith effort at defending it.
Are coming out and saying, absolutely not, this is not okay, I don't care where you lie politically, philosophically, but morally, this is wrong, and we should all...
Which thing, though?
Share that sentiment, and we should all agree that you should not do this. There's a great article put out to my fellow classical liberals, I stand with libs of TikTok.
Wow, now there's a shocking fucking headline. I mean, I personally am just gobsmacked that someone who calls themselves a classical liberal stands with a toxic online fucking gift pilz. Just a fucking toxic online goblin.
Written by Holly Math Nerd. It's on Holly's Substack if you guys want to go and check it out. And she talks about how she is a liberal herself, and this...
yeah, okay, that's a very nice bit of conflation there.
Experience of watching the political left shift more and more and more.
Classical liberals are not... I mean... This is just... I mean, I'm really... I could go either way, actually, on whether she is just so ignorant that she doesn't understand that there's a big difference between people who say that they're classical liberals and what is called liberal in normal U.S. political discourse. I mean, she's like, she specifically says classical liberals, not liberals. There's all sorts of things wrong with the term liberals, and honestly, liberalism is annoying as fuck, but classical liberals... Yeah, I know, I accidentally hit the mute button. Sorry about that. I caught myself doing it, so you didn't miss anything I said, because I repeated myself. Yeah, not the same thing. The classical liberals, even if you think that liberals are on the political left, which no... Not if the term left is to have any fucking meaning. Yeah, exactly. That is the latest term. That's how they decide to troll the libs.
More and more extreme, while most people who are conservative and classically liberal are staying in the views and in the value set that they had ever
which sucks shit
since they adopted that set of values. So you watch as this side gets crazier and crazier and woker and woker and woker, and you're just standing here going, okay, well...
So what you're saying is that society sort of moves on, and you've sort of stuck your head in the sand or trying to pretend that things haven't actually changed? Yeah, that doesn't seem like a great political position. Yeah. Which is the point? I'm curious.
I used to view myself as a progressive, but it doesn't look like the word progressive is synonymous with what I believe anymore, so what do I do with that? And this post really goes into asking classical liberals, hey, you gotta make a decision here, because you're still identifying with this sort of progressivist idea that is no longer coming to fruition in the ideological framework and works.
What fucking... See, she made a point of saying classical liberals there, which tells me that she understands that there is a difference between saying that you're a liberal and saying you're a classical liberal. And I would be very keen to find an example of somebody who is identifies as... Well, I mean, she's not even talking about she's talking about liberals, and then she does not even... And then she's sort of moving into the... Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's deliberately conflating classical liberals, i.e. right libertarian chuds, and just your regular garden variety annoying liberals, or whether she literally does not understand that those are actually very different political tendencies. I mean, I haven't even heard her make an actual point about the left, to be honest.
workspace that we have right now in this country. So what's going
Mostly because she doesn't have a coherent way of even describing who she's talking about. She just, I mean, it's this thing that the right-wingers are always doing. They just lump everything together and call it the left. And it somehow ranges from Nancy Pelosi to the Zapatistas. And we're supposed to, and they just treat all of them as if they have like some sort of completely homogeneous ideological framework when, I mean, it's like when fucking Caleb Muppet talks about BreadTube and he includes Destiny. It's the same bullshit. And with that, we are running out of time. It's about to be 1 a.m., in which point I turn into a pumpkin, and so I'm going to wish you all a good night. Thank you for joining me as always, and I'll be back on Friday. Although, I don't know, I'm going to have to look into my schedule because I have the Polyglot Gathering online coming up, and so I'm not entirely certain what the schedule for that's going to look like, so I don't know for sure if I'm going to be back this coming week, but I'll let you know. I just have to get the schedule. I'm going to be presenting at it, so there will be that. That will be going up on YouTube on the Polyglot Gathering channel at some point in the next couple of weeks. So there will be content from me, but it will be in Japanese. So have a good night. Thanks as always for joining me. Good night.